All right, everybody, welcome and thank you so much for tuning in. This is part 3 of a 3-part series covering the 75 Hard Challenge. We will be covering the phases in a later video, but we got into the weeds so deep. It was about an hour by the time we finished just 75 Hard, so we had to cut it for the day. But enjoy part 3. Let me know, what did you take from this overall series? What did you enjoy from this part? Like, subscribe, share, send it to someone who you think would be impacted by this. I appreciate you guys so much. Enjoy. Okay, Google, what's the weather?
Right now in Springfield, it's 46 and cloudy. Today, there'll be showers with a forecasted high of 51 and a low of 37.
Sounds like a hard workout. Let's go.
So there were definitely some days where it was like, all right, well, this is a punishment day because you made poor life decisions.
Right. Yeah, and oh man, I have had quite a few, like, one in the afternoon workouts where I'm just like, well, you know what? You made your bed, let's lie in it. Like, we got to get it done. It's time, and like, you get such strange looks as you are like swimming in your own life.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I think, you know, it comes down to, and I think we both have kind of tiptoed around this, but like, if you're gonna do 75 hard, like, you have to just like, gonna do it. Like, I'm gonna commit, and you're gonna, you know, like, your why has to be strong, because like that 2-week mark comes at you, and it comes at you quick, and you know, it's gonna sound great on paper, it's gonna look great on paper, but like, man, that 2-week mark, I feel like, is like the ultimate like challenge, because I know I've got like several other people in my life who like just, they started the program, they like didn't make it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, you know, it's unfortunate because they could have gained so much from it, and I feel like that, like, we were talking about this last night, like who I am today as a person in just a year is like a completely different person, and it like boggles my mind to think of that. But then it's like, well, if this is all I could do in 1 year, like, what can I do in 5 years or 10 years? And that's where like that stacking behavior, and it's almost like my heart almost hurts for these people.
Right.
Because it's like, oh, you were on the cusp of like this like great potential, and you know, it's like, I know what it did for me, and I know that it could like do so much for them, and like there's like 2 different like segues. It's like, would not consider program,
Right.
or like has excuses and doesn't want to do program, or doesn't feel the need to do program, you know, like there's like
Right.
that boat. And then there's like the boat of like started program and like didn't finish. And also like I was in a Facebook group for a while that was like a 75 hard accountability program, which I know like defeats the like purpose of like you being accountable to yourself. And it was more like, I wanted to see the community, right? But I like ended up getting so frustrated because there were these people on there that were like, oh, failed for time 11, and I'm like, okay, like, if you failed 11 times, like, good on you for continuing to try, but like, maybe we need to like take a second, take stock of what we're doing,
Right.
and like figure out, like, is this program
Take a
for
look
you?
at the black box and figure out like why you failed, as opposed to, you know, just going ahead and restarting.
Right.
Because like, you know, there were times where I would hear people were failing because they couldn't get their progress photo. All right, well, if that's why you failed, you know, set a reminder in your phone.
Yeah.
Do whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that gets done. Or, you know, if you're failing because, you know, there's just so much and your body is just so sore, you know, take up yoga.
Yeah.
You know, get some stretching in, do something that's maybe a little less physically exertful for a portion.
Yeah, like, you don't have to go run hill sprints every day for
Right.
75 days. Like, your body would not make it. Like, I'm sorry, it wouldn't make it, you
Right.
know?
You gotta definitely mix in
Yeah.
what you do.
100%. And I will say, I ended up leaving that group because it frustrated me. That frustrated me enough. But then at some point, the like administrator was like, you have to post every day your check-in that like you made your day. Like we're gonna hold each other accountable. And I'm like, okay, well like that completely defeats the purpose of the program if like we are just like as an ether holding each other accountable. It's like if you can't hold yourself accountable, like there's a problem there. So like, and I
right, a self-development program is meant for self.
Right, like self first, like,
right.
And we can rally as a community. And I know like you were paramount in like me making it through those test days. And
yeah.
I would like to think those like phone calls we'd like exchange at like 4 in the afternoon or 9 at night. It was like, dude, I'm not gonna make it. And we're like, hey, buddy, like zoom in, focus in,
right.
buckle down. Like those were like absolutely like needed. But like, oh man, I just like this like community of like mandating that everyone like do that, and I was like, you missed the point. But
yeah. So the other thing, I mean, kind of switching gears a little bit.
Yeah.
Is as we were talking the last couple of days, the 75 hard by proxy in terms of like a mentality shift kind of really hit just talking about that because my girlfriend was there throughout the process. My progress photos I would take on Snapchat and save it on my side, but also send that to her. Just not really for accountability, but at the same time,
you gotta flex a little, right?
A little bit of accountability. A little bit of accountability. But the cool thing that she did for me was, around day 30, day 35, kind of sporadically, once I hit that day, like every maybe 15 days, but not really, she would take a screenshot of her laptop that had my first day photo and my day 30 photo, and she would send that to me, and like with a, I'm super proud of you.
Yeah.
Keep going. So I did have that, motivating factor there, and I'd like to think that she gleaned, a lot of, the benefit from just me doing this, and I don't know if it was the conversations change.
Right.
That you have with your friends. My roommate, I don't know if it was like specifically from this, or if it was, basically my mentality shifted, and I don't know if that caused his mentality to shift or me to just notice that mentality more. But our conversations went from, just meaningless kind of bullshit to like, hey, what are your goals? Where are we going? How can we help each other? What do we want to do? And even more so, like he was super helpful throughout the whole process because like we moved mid 75 hard.
Right.
While I was traveling.
Yeah.
I was in California, and we had one weekend to move all of our stuff from our apartment to the new apartment, and then we also had to clean everything out and do everything. And I did feel like a little bit of a jackass.
Right.
Through that process, because like I did lean heavily on him to help in that. I appreciate the help out of all of that. I made sure to get him a nice man crate.
Right.
Shout out.
We're not sponsored. Shout out man crate.
Shout out man crate. So yeah, like just. But again, I don't know if it was my mentality shifting and my focus in life shifting that brought that out in him, or if it just like accentuated that quality in him.
Yeah.
Like just because, now instead of just thinking about it, now we're talking about it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly like where that shift happened.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. I feel like, and that's like, and we talked about this too, but like, it's like if you look at like the people around you, like they're obviously gaining something because you're going through this and you're like sharing your journey, but then like it's like, man, if you can gain so much from just like observing it, like think about what the plan or the program itself could give you.
Right.
And like, you know, it's like external versus internal. We were talking about this video that I'm just like all about, and it's this monk is telling this story about this guy who wants to go climb a mountain, and it's his dream. So he goes and he gets to the bottom of the mountain base camp, and he like finds all these people coming down, and it's like, hey, tell me like what was your journey, like how'd you get there, what did it look like, and basically,
and what was the view at the top?
Yeah, and like all these people are telling him all these hard paths to get to the top, and he's like, you know what, that sounds like a lot of work. Like,
so he kept going around. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work. I don't want to go that way. So he walks a little bit further around the base of the mountain, gets to a certain point, asks more people who've come down.
Yeah.
Hey, what was your journey like? What did you see at the top?
Yeah.
At XYZ, and you know, he just kind of keeps walking around the mountain until he's all the way around the mountain.
Yeah, and he like chops it up to basically like, I know from what they've told me what the top looks like. I don't need to see it anymore.
Right.
And so he like gave up, and this monk is like, that is the most tragic thing that it could ever happen in life, that you assume that you know and you just give up. And that like really spoke to me, because you know, it's like, man, like so much has changed in my life, and by proxy I've been able to influence so many people in my life, and it's you know, it's unfortunate that they like, you know, they haven't yet started their journey, and you know, like maybe it's not the right time for them, you know, maybe this, you know, this isn't the right moment, but I think this program holds so much for so many people, and I wholeheartedly agree, because I think for me what this program did was it like polarized all of these relationships that I had, you know, with friends, with loved ones, of like who's on board for the ride, who is like here to like be their best self.
Right.
And then like, you know, unfortunately for me, it was a big recognition of like, who are the people who are not there, who like they're, you know, it's either this moment in life or it's just where they're at, they're just not there, and they maybe don't want to be there, and it's like, you know, you're a product of the 5 people you hang out with, so like, is being around them in my life, is having them as, you know, like close friends, roommates, you know, whatever, is that going to help me get to that 10-year goal? And that's when you start to like kind of pull back from them. And I know you and I at one point had a talk about like having to get rid of like toxic friends, and it's more of like, you just kind of step back and let it happen, and like if they like change or reach out, like you don't just like cut them off cold turkey, like, hey, like go, you know, piss off, but you just kind of let the relationship like distance itself, as they don't want to put in the effort to grow with you.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of you know, there's a lot of people that don't understand. You know, they don't really like even put in the effort to you know, see what you're doing, right?
Mm.
It was very interesting, because like I thought that, you know, any, you know, betterment program, right, that's going to any workout program, any mentality shift that shines through would you know, solidify that. But like, yeah, there was a couple of people that, you know, I told, hey, I was doing this, and they're like, okay, yeah, sure you are. Good buddy.
Right. Oh, you.
And then, you know, a weekend, they're like, hey, you wanna go drinking with us? I mean, I'll go with you, but I'm not drinking.
Right.
Or, you know, whatever, because, you know, hey, I'm still doing this. Oh yeah, but like, you can have a drink, right? Like, it's fine. Like, it's just have a drink, or, you know, whatever.
Right.
It's like, okay, you're gonna make this real difficult, aren't you?
These test days are gonna multiply for somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was some of that, you know, and then there was
They didn't get it.
Didn't get it.
Well, and
Just straight up didn't.
or it sounds like, you know, like they were intimidated watching you grow.
Yeah.
You know, and like maybe we're like psychoanalyzing this one too deep, but yeah, I wholeheartely agree with that.
I don't know if it was maybe some portion of that, or some portion of it was that they recognized in themselves that they wanted to do that,
but wouldn't.
Because they didn't want to feel uncomfortable. Because honestly, the entire time is uncomfortable.
It's just
right. Like you're no matter who you are, no matter like what you are doing in your life prior to starting the program,
right.
you will feel uncomfortable the majority of the program.
Yeah.
Right? Like for me, a hard thing was the reading, because I'm not a very fast reader. And like my mind wanders, and so like really having to go back and reread because my mind goes to, ooh, that's a good point. Now I'm thinking about like what they're doing and you know, thinking about this, and I'm still reading word for word, but I'm not actually comprehending, and then I go, oh, crap.
What is it? Parks and Rec. The dude is like, yeah, I don't know if I actually know how to read. I think I just memorized a lot of words. It's like, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I actually knew how to read until like this program. Like, basically at 27 years old, I spent the last year teaching myself how to read, and I feel like for me, I have to have a highlighter with like my reading to like highlight just like nuggets, but then also like to keep me like focused, because I'm like, what nugget is next, like,
right.
And that's like the only way, because I agree, I'm so bad at reading. And like both of us are younger, but like this program is for anyone.
Yeah.
And it's cool because that is the one thing that you get to see within the like community of people who have like engaged in this program and are on social media, especially Instagram. And I know you're not on Instagram, but you watch all these people, and it's ages, nationalities, races, genders, creeds, like all of these people are experiencing and like having the same, like growth and realization, and it like, it's like par for the course for everyone. Like,
right.
Like you don't finish this course without like coming to some of these same conclusions, and I think that's been really cool for me, because it's like, yeah, like I'm like younger, and I like do what I want, and so like maybe it's easier for me, but then like the dad who works 2 jobs and like has kids, he's still doing it, and guess what, like it's just as hard for me as it is for him, and like it doesn't matter that
right.
Like who you are. It's not like, oh well, you're just a young kid, you've got all this free time. It's like, well, I have 3 jobs, and I have, at that point I, was in a relationship, and,
right.
So it's like, you can't judge like, someone's age or someone's like fitness level. That's another thing. Like lots of people were like, oh, well, I'm physically fit. I, was in the X, Y, and Z, like, and they assume that it's easy. It's like, you know what? If you think it's easy, I'll see it in 75 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, so we've been going for a while, and we haven't gotten to the phases. So I think what we're probably gonna need to do is split it up a little bit, put a pause on it. So this is gonna be our 75 hard-based video. We're gonna kind of wrap shortly, but I want to finish up last thoughts, last comments, last story nugget. What do you have?
Oh man, there's so much. It's hard to know like what to put in here. Like, I mean, really, I think it comes down to like, for me, I wasn't big into the social media, like you said, like, so I didn't really want to post a lot, right? It was more of a personal journey, and like the path that it was more about the path that I wanted to take, and what I was going to be putting out. And I remember, my mom calling me several days asking me like,
Yeah.
hey, I just did this, and it's like, who are you? Like, I remember my mom saying, like, you're crazy, and like, I don't know what you did, but like, good for you.
Yeah.
So like, you know, there's especially when you don't live near certain people, right? It's a lot easier for them to see the change in you, right? So don't. I mean, like, I was a little bit discouraged at first through like friends and people, you know, when 30 days in they didn't really notice a difference.
Right.
Right. And but I was traveling again for a lot of my 75 hard in phase 1, and I remember finishing phase. Well, I guess we'll say that for phase 1. But
Yeah.
I remember, you know, seeing my friends for the first time that I hadn't seen since starting 75 hard, right? And one of them, you know, comes into the apartment. He's got his head down. He's bringing his stuff in, right? And he's setting it all down, like, oh, all right. And then he looks up and he goes, "Holy shit! Like, you got skinny," and like was just kind of,
Right.
you know, basically like super surprised in that. And so like those moments made like a lot of this worth it. Like, not that I needed validation, but like it was nice to see
Your
that
efforts,
the
like,
efforts were noticeable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas like day to day, the people that are around you, they see you lose a half a pound here, a half a pound there. They see that, but which is why the progress photos are such a big deal. Because like you can look at your overall like growth,
Right.
and your overall progress a lot easier than day to day, because those day to day occurrences, you know, they build on each other
Yeah.
so much, but it's so hard to see in the moment.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you taking time. I'm so glad we got to like sit down and reflect on this.
Yeah.
Obviously phase 1, probably 1, 2, 3, we'll lump Summit, and by
Right.
then I will have completed phase 3.
Yeah.
I will complete phase 3, right? And so maybe it'll make more sense to actually do that, and then I can like be reflectively, you know, victorious, right? But we'll circle back. We'll hit those phases. I really appreciate this. I love the journey that you've been on, and
Yeah.
just like the growth that we've had. It's been so cool, and it validates to me that like you're gonna be in my tribe 10 years from now, and
Right.
I know that like my best self and your best self are like we're getting to that point, and like we're gonna be there, and I'm excited to see where life takes us and like how it unfolds. And I know that like these things are like they're building in those small micro habits, that 1% daily change
Yeah.
that's helping us get there. And so it's been so cool. With that being said, I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share. Let me know, have you guys done 75 hard? What are your thoughts? Give me your like honest feedback. And till next time, stay tuned. Phase 1, 2, and 3, we'll like make that a video. But I'm Cody. This is Hunter. We appreciate you guys.
Always.
Love you, big guy.
Love you too, big guy.
Love you guys. I'll see you next time.